So now that I'm all done with the removal from the birdhouse, I can now go ahead and start my process of showing you the infestation of the wax moth. But if you don't know, if you haven't seen some of my other videos, if you don't know what the basic nest composition of a yellow jacket nest looks like, here the white caps, those are pupa, and these little white worm looking thingies look just like maggots, which I guess technically they are, but the proper term is larvae. So as they grow, they have at some point cocoon themselves, spin themselves a wax, not a wax, this silk cocoon. So once they do that, then they start pupating. So actually, if you look right here, this one is actually doing that. You can see it moving around inside there, right here. This one right there. Moving around town. So, anyways, and this one right here is actually, looks like this one is eating. Yeah, it was, some stuff fell in there. It was trying to eat it, so it was moving around. Very tiny little larva, but it was trying to eat whatever this was, which I find kind of funny. Okay, so let's move on to the other layer. So this is technically the bottom layer, because the nest is usually up like this, hanging. So here's the bigger layer. So these, the shorter ones are workers. Some of these longer ones are either are males or queens. Particularly the largest ones will be the queens, like these ones here. The males will stick out just a little bit more because they're just a little bit bigger than the workers, but not always. Sometimes they are a little bit smaller. Anyways, so inside here there's actually some eggs. These are probably going to become more queen cells or males. And yep. All right, so now next to this layer, now we can start seeing where it was being infected by wax moth. So you see this silk right here? Yeah. Okay, so that's the wax moth starting its thing. The time frame where the wax moth will start to destroy the nest, I don't quite sure. Normally I see them infested usually about this stage, towards the end of their cycle. So the wax moth doesn't always really do any damage necessarily to the actual nest. Sometimes I've noticed it can, but usually they feed on the very beginning stages of the nest, which is back here. But anyways, here's this layer, and here's the last layer, the most infested. From usually what I see is that it's the least used, and the wax moth can go over here. I'm not quite sure why the yellow jackets allow it, but they do. But let's dig in here, right here. Here's a live one, like so. I'll take this little one out. There's a wax moth larva. There's a larva. So this is obviously not this is not a yellow jacket. This will turn into a moth. But these little buggers can do a lot of damage in certain situations. But for here, I'm going to go ahead and use these for feeding my yellow jackets. Oh, here's a random yellow jacket in there. Let's see, what else do we got in here? All this frass from the larva of the wax moth. Well, looks like we only got just a few of those. We don't got a lot of wax moth. Just enough. It looks like it was the beginning stages. There's another one hiding from me. Come here. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and breed these wax moths in a contained tank, so that I can feed them to my other insects. it's very tough. This material, it's very strong. So when I go to take it off the surface of whatever the yellow jacket nest was attached to, usually and it's really hard to pull off, then I know that wax moth has infested inside of it. But besides that, you can look in here. This one is probably a future queen that's pupating. Ooh, yep, it's super soft. It was just right about. See, you can even see the little, eyes. That was going to be that's a future. That was going to be a future queen, dead now, but. And so that's it. But if you listen closely here, the last thing before I end the video is if you're patient enough and you wait, you can hear them scratching. When they scratch on the side, the larvae, when they scratch on the side of the paper, that means that they're hungry. They want some food. So let's listen.